All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Daybreak Live. My name's Krissi. I'm with Positively Osceola, and Positively Osceola is here to bring you news that informs, impacts, and inspires. And today is not any different. So we're going to be chatting with Michelle Incandela. She's from Draper Law Office. She's an attorney, and she wants to give you the best legal advice possible on how to avoid common pitfalls with claims. And a lot of that is done even before you hire an attorney. She'll also give you some idea of how to hire the best attorney for you and your situation. But let's get into it. We'll share the video, we'll make it official, and then I'll introduce you to Michelle Incandela. Here we go. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It is 9:01 on April 6th, and we are here to share some very valuable information with you. Every time I get the chance to talk to Michelle Incandela, she gives me countless great information that I never knew, and that's so important. And legal advice, you never think you're going to need it, but until it happens, well, this is for you. So let's introduce you to Michelle Incandela, and she's going to chat with us all about how to avoid the worst claim pitfalls, like interesting things that happen even before you hire an attorney. So let's bring her on here. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Krissi. Good morning, Osceola friends. How are you?
Yeah, and hey, if you're watching live, pop it in the comments, say hi, ask questions. We are here to help, and if I see your comments pop up, then I'll share them with Michelle, and we'll be able to answer them for you. All right, so Michelle, today we are chatting about how to avoid issues with claims, insurance claims, even before we get an attorney. So let's first talk about what we need to do and what can we do to avoid having that issue.
Sure. So, for those of you that don't know what I do, my specialty as an attorney is I work in personal injury, and so I help people put their lives back together when they've been involved in an accident or they've been injured or a family member has been injured. And so I want to make it as easy as possible for my clients and as comfortable a process as possible because it's really not a great situation for them, right? When I see people for the first time, they're usually uncomfortable, they're in pain, they're having issues with their car that's been, damaged. And so they're not in a great state of mind. And so I would like to prepare people as much as I can for what they need to do before they even come and see me, which will make it a lot easier for them. Because a lot of what happens and a lot of what can affect your claim down the road occurs very close to when that accident happens. And today we're just going to talk about car accidents.
Okay.
So, for example, you get involved in an accident and you're at the scene and you're rear-ended. What should you do at the scene? Well, at the scene, you're in shock and you're possibly injured and in pain, and you just want to get everything resolved there so that you can go home to a safe place and relax and shake off the events of the day. But there's a lot of things that you need to do before you leave that can impact your claim later on. And one very important fact is that you need to take photos. If there's damage to your car, you want to take photographs at the scene if you can, if you're able to. That being said, first thing is always going to be attend to medical attention. If you yourself need medical attention or someone at the scene needs medical attention, that's always going to be a priority, right? So health is always going to come first. That being said, if you're able to, and or so your passenger or somebody with you is able to, you want to document what happened with photographs. A lot of the mistakes that people make, and everybody's pretty good these days with their cell phones, they'll take pictures of their own car. What they forget to do is take pictures of the other car. We encounter a situation frequently, especially now with people who drive SUVs where the rear end of their car is kind of higher up off the road, the car that's coming behind them will brake just before impact, causing the nose of that car to go underneath the car that they hit. What happens is there's a significant amount of damage to the at-fault party, to the car that did the hitting. But because the nose kind of went underneath the car that they rear-ended, there's not as much damage to that vehicle. Well, if you don't take pictures of the other car that shows significant damage, that the entire the entire front end was smashed in some cases, and there isn't a significant amount of physical damage to your car, insurance companies love this because they want to show pictures to a jury of only your car that doesn't seem to show a lot of damage. And they will try to lead the jury to believe that it was a less severe impact than it was, because the brunt of the damage, the physical damage, is actually to the other vehicle. So you want to always make sure that you get pictures of the other vehicle before you leave the scene. Sometimes it's possible for us to get them afterwards, but sometimes it isn't, and that's not a chance that you want to take. And again, insurance companies love when people do this because it kind of plays into their hands of being able to say an impact was minor when it really wasn't. So
Okay,
that's
so
one of the first things.
This is like a CYA, like, yeah, you want to cover yourself first and foremost.
You want to document. You want to document as much as possible, and you want to, as soon as you get those photos. Another mistake that people have made over the years, and I feel very bad for when this happens, but we rely so much on technology. Everybody takes these pictures with their phones, and people will go, take such efforts to document the scene. And I have, 50 photographs of my vehicle, and I have damage to the other vehicle, and I can show even the placement of the vehicles at the scene, that the other party was over the line, so we can prove that this wasn't my fault, and that's great. But they store them all in their phone, and they don't take them off the phone, and then something happens to the phone, and all the pictures are gone before they can be removed. Okay, so if you do take those pictures with your phone, make sure that you back them up someplace, put them on a drive on the computer, I don't even know if people use floppy disks anymore, but what do you call those, thumb drives? Put them on a thumb drive, keep them someplace, safe, so that you have a backup, so that if you do need them in the future, you have them, and you're not going to have to suffer that, significant loss of those photos.
Smart. Okay, got it. So take pictures, download the pictures, save them, back them up. Got it. Okay.
Another thing I will say that a lot of people have an issue with is that we have people who have frequently, if you're involved in an accident, again, at the scene, the adrenaline is pumping, the nerves are built up in your system. You really just want to get home, and you're so emotionally upset that you're not even noticing physical symptoms. Or sometimes you might notice a physical symptom, but it's not very severe. So people will tend to wait and see what happens before they get checked out medically. I advise you not to do that. If you are experiencing any kind of a symptom whatsoever after an accident, go and get checked out for your own good. You don't know what could be going on in there. It's really better for you to see a medical professional. And if they check you out and they say you're good to go, that's great. And if things develop, then at least you've gotten to a professional that can get you on the path to getting whatever treatment you need. Insurance companies will look at how quickly after an accident you sought treatment, which is a little bit unfair because people really want to try to see if their symptoms resolve before they run to the doctor. I mean, people are not thinking about an insurance claim at the scene of an accident. They're not thinking about lawsuits. They just want to get home, and they want to get through this nightmare, and they just want to feel better. But the insurance companies kind of use that against them. They'll say, well, if you were injured in the accident, did you feel any symptoms at the scene? And they say, well, yeah, I just felt a little something. Oh, but you didn't go to the doctor, so it couldn't have been that bad. And then they will try to make the argument that whatever issues you have are not really related to the accident because you didn't go to the doctor right away. So, you want to seek medical attention as soon as you feel symptoms and get checked out as soon as possible. And if things develop, then they're medically documented. And if you get better, then, that's fantastic. But definitely don't delay medical treatment because insurance companies love when you do that, and they'll use that against you in any way they can.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So when let's say there's been an accident,
Mhm.
you've documented everything, and then, the authorities come and they do all their reports. Should you go then right away to seek medical attention?
Right. So it depends on your symptoms. I mean, if you are experiencing symptoms that are out of the ordinary for you, you're experiencing pain immediately following an accident, you have a lot of options. You can go to an ER right away. You can go from the scene if your symptoms are severe, or you can go later that day, or you can go to an urgent care, or you can see a doctor, the next day or later that week. There's also a question, with benefits in Florida. We have PIP, which is personal injury protection, and it's
Yeah.
how your bills get paid after an auto accident. And if you don't seek medical treatment, within 14 days, that will affect the amount of your PIP benefits. So if you're experiencing anything, you don't want to delay at least getting checked out. And again, it depends on the severity of your symptoms. So that's going to be up to your judgment. But the important thing is just not to ignore symptoms. Don't wait and hope it goes away in a couple of days. Don't say, I'll give it a couple of weeks. If you're experiencing anything, get it checked out.
Because it could bite you in the end.
Yeah, they'll use again, there's most of us, because we're so busy, we have jobs, we have children, we have so much, and we really just want everything to just get better and go back to the way it was before the accident and not have an injury and not have to deal with any of this. And unfortunately, for some people, it doesn't work out that way. They do end up with permanent injuries as a result of accidents. Other people get better, and that's great, but some people don't. And so you don't want to not address those concerns, and you don't want to give anybody, like the insurance company, any way to try to use that against you. And they'll do whatever they can. Remember, the insurance companies, there's nice people working for the insurance companies, but they're not your friend.
Right. They are not here to pay you any money
Mm-hmm.
at all if they can.
Right. They have a job to do, and their job is generally they will be very nice people to deal with, but remember that you have different interests, right? The insurance company's interest is in protecting the insurance company's money, and
Yep.
it's not your interest. So always keep that in mind. You also bring up a really good point, Krissi. I do want to give people the heads up about this, because right now in Osceola County, and I think in most counties in Florida, we are experiencing a tremendous shortage of state troopers. There is just not enough officers to go around right now. And what's happening is, when you get into an accident, usually the local police will come to the scene, but then it's usually the Florida troopers that will do the accident reports. And we've had a couple of clients who have had to wait at the scene 8 and 10 hours for the trooper to get there to do the report. And some clients have even been told to call in the report, that the trooper, they can't even get a trooper there because there's been other accidents in the area and they just don't have the manpower. If you can, it's usually better to wait, even though it's a significant time to wait. Try to wait for the officer to be there to document.
Yeah.
And if not, then do make sure that you go ahead and follow through. If they tell you there's no way we can get an officer there was a fatality with 17 cars on the interstate,
Sure.
You have to do it yourself. Do that and make sure you do follow through and report that. Okay,
Yes.
that's also important to document.
Oh, I never even thought about that. Yeah. How long are you going to have to wait? But obviously there's a lot going on. So it's not just you that's having issues. It's everyone.
Right. Again, if you need medical treatment, get the medical treatment, because that's going to be priority. But if you can wait, even if it's going to be a while, go ahead and try to do that.
Okay, cool. Anything else that we can do to avoid having insurance companies hurt us?
Well, I mean, the insurance company's interest is always going to be different than your interest. But I tell everybody, listen, if you've been involved in an accident and you're injured, consult a professional. Call our office, call an attorney, especially before you speak to insurance companies. What a lot of people don't realize also is that shortly after the accident, the at-fault party's insurance company, the other side, will usually call you and ask for a recorded statement. We recommend that you don't give recorded statements unless you talk to someone first, because again, the insurance company's interest is not your interest. And these are trained professionals who work for the insurance company, who know exactly what information they want to get. And the way that they want to get it can often be misleading, but they lock people into answers when people don't have the benefit of an attorney and a professional on their side. So Before you speak to anyone, we always recommend, reach out to a specialist. It doesn't cost you anything, and find out what your rights are and what their recommendations are before you start speaking to the insurance company professionals. Again, these are trained professionals who have a job to do and a goal, and their interest is not your interest.
Yep. Okay, so when we are choosing an attorney or an office, I feel like if you go with a really big, busy one, they don't have time for you, or they don't give you that personal connection. Whereas if you go to a really small one, maybe they get overwhelmed with like how serious everything is. So what's the middle ground?
So I always tell everyone, you are not under any obligation to hire an attorney just because you meet with them, and you should do your homework, and you should make appointments, and you should go where you feel comfortable. But the big firm, small firm consideration, that's real. There's a number of firms in the area that have hundreds and hundreds of attorneys that deal with them. And so there is going to be a difference between a firm that has 100 people and a firm like ours that has 2 injury attorneys. And so big firm versus small firm, again, that's something that they need to consider when they're hiring the attorney. Big firms there's some great lawyers, and I have friends that work for some of the larger firms, but they're completely different in the way that they operate. The attorneys from the large firms typically have larger caseloads. They'll have 200 plus cases. So that's just less time for the attorney to spend with each case. So they rely a lot more on support staff. They might have 2 paralegals, 4 assistants, multiple secretaries. And so there's more work on the files being done by support staff, whereas the smaller firms are usually more work is being done by the attorneys themselves. And there's a difference in communication with clients. So a lot of the clients who, if you have a firm that, your attorney has 200 other cases, is not necessarily going to have the time to devote to speaking with you and meeting with you regularly. So I think that's where you need to do your homework in your initial, consultations. When you meet with the attorney, ask a lot of questions. When can I speak to you? Whenever I want. Who's going to be handling my file? You, attorney, are you going to be the one that I speak to when I call, or are you going to, just give me an assistant every time and I'll never be able to get through? So it's really those initial meetings, I say, are so important, because you really need to work together. It's not the attorney that you hire is going to work for you, but you're also going to be working together. And they should do whatever they can to fight on your behalf and advocate for you. And it really needs to be a good relationship between the 2 of you. So if you don't feel that connection, or if you don't feel like your case is going to get the attention, try to find that out as early as possible. But yeah, our firm, for example, we have 2 attorneys that specialize in personal injury, and we are we have minimal support staff. So when you call us, most of the time, the person that you're speaking to is going to be the actual attorney that's working your file. So, yeah.
Wow. And not an automated system where you have to wait 45 minutes to talk to anybody.
Well, no automated system, but yeah, that's something I did encounter that one time when someone called and said I couldn't even get off hold. I said, what, they were talking about an issue they were having with another office. And I said, well, I understand you probably had an issue with the support staff. You can only talk to the support staff. They said I couldn't even get through to the support staff. I was on hold for so long, I hung up.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah,
Okay.
nobody has that kind of time to waste, I think.
Right. Especially when it's a serious injury and they need to, get help. Okay, so if people want to reach out to you in Draper Law Office, how do they contact you?
So website, phone, website is draperlawoffice.com. There's a live chat on the website, I think 24/7. So if they need to give us their information, then somebody usually calls them back first thing in the morning. So even if 2 a.m., you want to get us your information, we'll get back to you first thing. There's a lot of information on our website at draperlawoffice.com, and you can always call us at the landline number. We still answer our phones in person.
The landline number.
The landline number.
Well, good. Okay, awesome. So as you heard, there are a lot of things that we can do to avoid having issues with our insurance claims, especially with personal injuries and car accidents. And Draper Law Office has been around since 1984. Michelle's an attorney. There's another one that's there, and then Charlie Draper is the main shareholder. And this group is very well educated. They've been doing this a long time, and they know exactly what they're doing. So, if you are looking for legal advice and you need help and you have questions, call them, because this is a great opportunity. And Michelle, you're always so full of wonderful information. So thank you so much for sharing that with
You're
us
welcome.
today. Yeah.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Krissi. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. I'm sure we'll chat about something else, that everyone will want to know soon. So thank you again, and everyone, please enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.